r slash as Reddit. Or in this case r slash as Facebook, because the following particular topic it's going to be extracted from the comments in a Facebook group focused entirely on languages. What's up, brave new world? It's Joshua again with a brand new video, which it's going to be about this fascinating topic, which has been covered many times in Reddit videos. By the way, needless to say, I love this kind of Reddit videos because they are such an amazing kind of information and an amazing source of stories. And I consider this like an amazing alternative for podcast. Besides, many people enjoy these kind of videos of Reddit. However, sometimes they complain that the robotic voice doesn't read it so properly, and sometimes it is too monotonous. So today I'm going to bring you this particular r slash as Facebook in this particular Facebook group focus on languages. I'm not going to mention the name of the group, but let's imagine that this is an r slash ask Reddit. Redditors of all around the world. What was your they didn't know I spoke their language moments? Pam pam pam. Let's have a look. Before we start with this topic, let's have some real music, and in order to do that, let's use the usual song that so many videos utilize in their as a background music, and that is Lakey Inspire. Find a way. So one more time, r slash as Reddit, or in this case r slash as Facebook, in this Facebook group focus on languages. I asked this exactly on June the 6th at 3:45 p.m. What is your, and I quote, quotation marks, they didn't know I spoke their language moment. They didn't spoke their language, close to quotation, moment. It has 317 reactions, 317. Thank you, but not now. Alright, David Jordan says, exactly, he replied on the same day, a couple of minutes later, on Sunday, June the 6th of this year, 2021, at 3:54 p.m. says, oh my God, David Jordan says, many years ago, I, with a group of instructors, took our class of cosmetology students to a national class competition. All of the students were from the Midwest and only spoke English. A group of us got on an elevator, and there were two men from Italy saying very derogatory things about the overly made up and slightly overweight women in my group. The ladies thought their accent and language was beautiful, and I told them that the men were complimenting their beauty, when in fact they were calling them Mayali. Mayali. So I responded, possono essere pesanti, ma voi due siete maiali. Caro signore, lei è una persona di molto rispetto e io le rispetto. Continuiamo. He says, so I responded, oh my God, the ladies thought their accent and language was beautiful, and I told them that the men were complimenting their beauty, when in fact they were calling them maiali. By the way, for those people who don't speak Italian, maiali means pig. Pig in Italian is maiale. Maialina if it's a tiny female pig, maialino if it's a tiny pig. If you want to call a little boy who is fat a pig, you can call him maialino. Like the same if it's a girl, the person to whom you want to direct that insult. Maialina. And he says, oh my God, I responded, possono essere pesanti, ma voi due siete maiali. I responded with, they might be fat, but you two guys are the pigs. And oh my God, it has 47 reactions, and now you're going to have 48, including mine. David Jordan, thank you for the story. Translation, they might be heavy, but you two are the pigs. The horrified look on the men's faces was worth every goddamn minute. 49 reactions, and now you have mine. Elena Roy replies to David Jordan and she says, Elena says to him, hey, exactly at 4 o'clock, she says, Italian men can be very rude. I totally agree, but he replies then, I think unfortunately it is human nature to be rude, especially when you think somebody else cannot understand your language. I'm proud to say that I do not do this, but I think most of us have experienced things like this in the past. And my reply is going to be this, my dear David. That is going to be, I hope I never get to experience that, period. Kudos to you for standing up for the ladies. Ali Salguero says, oh, I love this kind of stories. I don't have any, but I want to read them all, says Ali. And I totally agree, you know. She has 32, and I'm going to reply like this, and I'm like, me too, these stories are always great. Indeed, they are. I am going to make a video now, period. In fact, as of the moment that these lines in this comment are being written, that very video is being filmed. Like this one right now. I hope I don't lose it. Thankfully my internet connection is stable. Here to read stories, says Diana Alexandra. You are not the only one. I reply. Annette Hafner says, me too. Oh my god, you have no idea how much. Tom Gross, like the adjective that means disgusting or revolting, says, give me a second. I'm going to listen to some music, but eventually this video it's going to be edited in such a way that it has music. So let's see. Tom Gross says, in 1976, says, I was suddenly surrounded by German tourists in Harvard Square, sitting at the counter at Zoom with U umlaut, a burger restaurant that had a corny German theme. But that's not really relevant. I sat and listened to their conversation for a while. Some more elderly tourists came in looking for a place to sit. I had finished my meal anyway, so I stood up and looked at the man who clearly didn't speak English and he needed a seat. And I said, Ich habe sowieso ab. Meaning, he looked at me with astonishment, saying, Sind Sie Deutscher? He's asking him, are you a Deutscher? Are you a German person? Are you German? I went on to explain that I was an American, but I had studied in Munich. How beautiful is that? I mean, for this kind of stories that normally in Reddit are super addictive. I hope that this video has a positive impact and many people find this pleasant, especially because my voice is not a robot. Therefore, I hope that people find that appropriate. And even if there are people who hate on that, go ahead, your comments are welcome. Kristen Aloha replies, I remember the Wiener Schnitzel restaurants, Wiener Schnitzel restaurants where I live in Arizona. They had good hot dogs. That's amazing. Oh, I love this. I have my seat too ready, my friend. 4 is Tupolev says, got myself a seat for the stories. You might as well grab the popcorn because I am reading them all and I am going to make a video out of it, which is this one right now. These kind of stories are amazing. It is amazing to read them. I believe they can be just as educative as a regular book of literature. Say, for example, a Stephen King book. Let's see, Franco Ariel says, many times in Buenos Aires, hearing Israelis talking bad or dirty things and not knowing that I was understanding. Dude, why didn't you say something to them? Che, why didn't you say anything to them? Boluo. I say that affectionately. Please don't be offended. Kim Bang says, oh my god. Kim Bang replies to a Norwegian friend in what seems to be Norwegian or Danish and says, Dette frane en gammel roof. Roof kan du selv være? If there is by any chance any Danish person reading this, if there is by any chance any Norwegian or Danish person watching this video, please correct me if I'm doing that more or less decently. I know I'm probably butchered that, but whatever. He says, all right, translation says, oh my god, der fame en gammel roof. And he replies, roof kan dem su vel stere. Eso es joder un culo viejo. Oh my god, are you serious? That's to hook up with an ass booty. And he replies, roof. Oh yeah, roof means ass in Danish. How about that? If there is by any chance any Danish or Norwegian person watching this, please correct me on that. Give us, please, bad words in your beautiful Nordic language. Please, I beg you. Give us, please, insults in your language. Do it write it down in the comments below, please. This is gonna be fascinating. Let's have a look. Alright, let's continue with the stories. Tamina Kulsum says, Tamina says, and she has 47 reactions. Here you have mine. Let's say, this happened when I was 11. It was at the airport, speaking to my mom in my mother tongue, Punjabi. Apparently, I must sound like a native. Two people in the queue were speaking in English about us and saying how uncultured we were because we were in the UK and not speaking English. The typical mind of monolingual English speaker, and I say that with all the sarcasm of the world because unfortunately, based on these stories that we have read, most of these idiotic people are usually monolinguals who speak English. And don't misunderstand me, I know I'm speaking that language in this moment. However, I'm talking about those people, not the language. Back to the story of Tamina. I waited until they were at the front of the queue, then turned around and in Queen's English told them that they were incredibly rude, ignorant, and hoped they didn't have kids as they needed a lesson in manners. They walked to the counter, then I walked to the counter and got my luggage weighed. Always get bemused at racists. No idea why folk are so ignorant. Is it me or are most of the people showing these personality traits usually bigoted monolinguals who only speak usually English? Again, I know I'm speaking that language to make this video, but I'm not talking about the language, I'm talking about some people speaking that language. Asaf Shuhami says, oh my god, this is gonna be good. It's more, I didn't know he spoke my language. I traveled to Budapest, that's how you pronounce it, Google, that's how you pronounce it, people, Budapest. My Hungarian friend Endre taught me how to pronounce it, Budapest, and that's how you pronounce Lugosi. I'm Mexican and I know how to pronounce it. Servus Hogivag, that's all I can say, and I'm probably butchering it. Let's see, one more time. Back to the story of Asaf says, it's more, I didn't know he spoke my language. I like this song. He's more like, I didn't know he spoke my language. I traveled to Budapest and a ride from the airport didn't show up. A very nice taxi driver turned to us in English, offering help. He took us to the hotel. While paying him, I said something to my mate in Hebrew. Then the driver turned and said in fluent Hebrew, hey, you're Israelis. We paid him and laughed a lot. He lived in Israel for some time before departing to Hungary. How fascinating is that? It's always amazing to find people who speak your language. I speak Spanish, English, a little bit of German and Italian, but I'm not an expert in those last two languages. But hey, it's always pleasant to see a person speaking Spanish just like me. Let's see, this is good. Shannon Marietta, I'm not saying your last name, says, I was trying on dresses in a shop where the cashiers spoke Danish, a language which has the reputation as sounding as super fun, hilarious, ridiculous, and that the person has a potato in their mouth. I'm not going to put a potato in my mouth so as to prove it, because I don't want to choke and I live alone. There is no one right now. Let's go back to the story of Shannon Marietta. I had been speaking English with my Danish husband. The cashiers were saying nice things to my husband, but when he left me alone to get coffee, they started talking about how I was a foreign bimbo who stole a good Danish man from the marriage stock. I must be good in bed to tempt him away. etc. That one is kind of a compliment, right? I must be good in bed to tempt him away. Fascinating. When one asks what I was better at than Danish women, when one asked what I was better at than Danish women, I finally had enough. I switched to Danish and said, I know what a tongue is supposed to be used for. I think she's talking about blowjobs. Probably if I say that word, YouTube is going to censor this video, but who cares? I'm going to make sure it's categorized as not appropriate for kids. Don't worry. When my husband came back, I told him that I didn't really like any of the dresses since I needed clothes from the weather. We went across the street and bought my winter wardrobe there. Apparently rudeness is a human trait. Human, and language is not a barrier. I'm going to write that comment here. David Jordan says, touché. David, I love your story. David, I loved your story from the beginning. One more time. My comment for this is the following. Oh, fuck. Please don't lose it. No, it's not that. Yes. It seems that rudeness and impoliteness are human traits, and language poses no barrier whatsoever. Alright, we'd like to hear what the reaction was. LOL. Replies this person, I think is David. Yes, it's David. No, Roxy Harridan says, I would like to hear what the reactions were. I'm correcting the grammar on purpose. Shannon Marietta replies, I didn't stay for the reaction. I had a winter wardrobe to buy, and there were a lot of clothes for them to put away. I would have helped if they had been nice. Totally. You can get farther in life by being nice. In some aspects, of course. Additionally, you are more memorable and people are going to be willing to help you more if you are nice. You can get more flies with honey than with vinegar. Christopher Donahue says, I was in Toronto for the weekend and standing in line at a Popeyes. A couple of old Chinese men standing behind me, waiting in the seemingly interminable line, talking to each other about the slowness and the people in line. As soon as they got my order, I muttered something out loud in Chinese. I can't remember what anymore. They both stared at me as I turned out, briefly looked them in the face, and walked out. Yes, it turned out that this person, Christopher, understood everything they said. Is it me, or also happens to people speaking these kind of languages from the Chinese subcontinent? Correct me if I'm wrong, and if someone can correct me, write it down in the comments. Oh, Francisco J. Gonzalez says, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm white enough to pass as an English-speaking North American Caucasian. Again, people from Latin America come in different shapes and colors. One time a Mexican co-worker, without knowing me, asked another co-worker, güey, este tiene cara de gringuito pendejo, ¿qué quiere con nosotros? Translation, man, this have the face of a silly, stupid American. What's his deal with us? Something like that. I like the song. The song I'm listening to is Janji Heroes Tonight. I like this. I agree with the sentiment. I might look pendejo, I might look stupid, but I understand 3 languages and I'm fluent in 2 of them. Bitch! Francisco Safina Ninuk says, what does it mean? Yup. C4 answers more. What does this asshole looking gringo want to do with us? Wow, that's rude. Indeed, Safina, indeed. And my reply is, indeed, Safina, indeed. I like the song. Indeed, Safina. Indeed. Come on, place the comment. Aha. Nikki Marre Wilson says, on the tube in London, two guys talking loudly in Zulu about women on the train. I leaned forward and asked them in Zulu where they were from. That put a damper on the rude comments. Now, Zulu is a fascinating South African language, and I would like to know a few words. If anyone who speaks Zulu can give me a comment, I would appreciate that so much. Kunari says, during a meeting, I tried to explain some IT things while I don't even understand such things in my own mother tongue. It happens to me too. I try to explain things in English about the grammar of English that I sometimes understand more than my own language. I can't believe it. This guy, Akhilesh, doesn't say anything. Anne Ahmed says nothing. Nur Mahmoud says Turkey. La Interprete says too many. And I reply, that is the idea. It's story time. Let's continue. Luke Guldeman says, let's hope the story charges. Says, not with language, but often in projects when people try to explain ridiculous choices made in a design. Well, those things are my expertise. Let's read that again. Luke Gludeman says, not with language, but often in projects when people try to explain ridiculous choices made in design. While these things are my expertise. This is more like the topic of r/what's something that someone wanted to correct you while you were an expert at it. Thomas Richard says, love these stories. Yes, ready for the tea? So do I. I made 2 extra posts like this one. I can tag you if you want. My reply to Melanie is like, by the way, this was to Thomas Richards. What about you, Melanie? You are like, you say what? You might as well get the snacks and popcorn and drinks ready. I should have done the same too. I have some water, but I want something more juicy. Maybe lemonade or something. Maybe a soda. Danny the Butt says, shortly after moving to Italy, I wanted to buy some cigarettes. The salesperson realized from my very bad Italian that I was a foreigner and insisted to talk English with me. He was very nice and polite and smiled at me all the time. When I turned around to leave after buying, he said, stronzo. Stronzo. Stronzo means stupid, like pendejo in Spanish. Tiene razón lo que dice. He's right, you know. He was very nice and polite and smiled at me all the time, but when I turned around to leave after buying, he said stronzo. Probably thinking my Italian was so bad, I didn't know this word. Well, I did. I smiled at him and left and never bought anything there again. Oh my, that's a little sad. He has his reaction, including thumbs up and sad reactions. You have mine too. You should have said after stronzo, piacere, che bel nome hai. You should have said after stronzo, piacere, che bel nome hai. Oh, it's a pleasure. Nice to meet you. What a beautiful name you have, stronzo. A.B. Landy says, dim sum restaurant in Queens with a Chinese American friend who spoke no Chinese. I ordered from the waitress who spoke no English. She heard and took my order but kept addressing comments and questions to my friend, which I kept answering. I told him he should move his mouth like he's talking just so the waitress wouldn't have a stroke. One person talking but the other one is moving the lips. How funny is that? How fun is that? Reminds me, says Milan Hofstede, says, reminds me of the but we are speaking Japanese video. I haven't watched that. I haven't watched it. Barbara Williams says, well, I have been to France twice. It was fun for me to appreciate the little French that I know with the people. There were some occasions when I spoke French to a store clerk and they responded in English. One guy said accent when I commented that he knew that I'm American. Really, Americans? Do you really have that strong of an accent? No, that's a big surprise. And that one has a little shot of irony and reality on it. It has some honesty and reality. Let us continue. Christine Horchesny, I have no idea how to pronounce it. Nor am I going to spell it. Says, that happened to me too, and I'm French Canadian. They would hear my accent and assume French wasn't my first language. Ha! I wonder why. Let's continue. Carlos Manuel says, this story time is gonna be really long. Oh my god, this is gonna be about Latinos. For us Latinos living in our countries, it's very common to have bad experiences with foreigners who say bad things about our people or thinking nobody understands what they say. It's always a good feeling to see their faces shocked when they have a response to their mean comments in their own language. That's one of the greatest sarcastic pleasures in the planet, which sadly I still haven't experienced, but I hope I don't get to because I'm so bad with sarcasm that Chandler, being from Friends, would have a stroke and his head would explode while talking to me. Let us continue. Says Jose Alberto Alvarez says, 4 years ago I was working in Tulum, Mexico. I was working for a travel agency. I was in charge of visiting hotels, hostels and other agencies to offer our transportation service from Tulum to Flores, Guatemala. How about that? Guatemala. Of course, the agency paid a commission per each bus ticket the hotel sold. I still remember I was sent to a very famous hostel in Tulum. I came in, went towards the front desk area. I introduced myself and the service agency provided. These two girls, one of them had a leg broken. They began to speak to each other in English. They said bad things about me. However, I could identify their Argentinian accent as they spoke English. Then I spoke to them in English so they could notice. I had understood all they said. I think they were ashamed. Totally. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. I like the song. When I edit this video, I'm going to play the song. Let's see. Milan Hofstede says, I work as a sub manager in a high-end fashion store in Japan. I'm French and actually my Japanese is good enough for any aspect of life there. One day I was casually folding shirts near the register and I heard two women talk in Japanese saying, Awa. Unfortunately, my Japanese is rusty and it goes something like this. It goes, Ara, Utaria wa minna asuki ga taredado te kedo aisu ya saisuha. I always thought foreigners looked slender and beautiful, but look at that. They did their shopping as they went on to try on clothing. I just went ahead in my best keigo like... Oh my god, it has too many kanji, but I'm going to try to read the hiragana. Deseisuna de arimashita ka que cochina de dozo do yukuru kuriku dagaine. Was your size on displays? You can use displays. Take all your time. I will never forget their shameful faces. I love this kind of stories. Is blah 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 blah. Is dochi Dora, a typo, asking as someone who tries to learn Japanese. That's a question from Bogdan. I'm going to ignore that. Ali Serhedi says, as a Romanian couple on a plane talking about rough sex, I couldn't hold my laughter longer and I realized. And this is a really good one. Please, if there is any Romanian person reading this, I beg you, write down in the comments dirty words, please, I beg you. Alice Herdi says, a Romanian couple on a plane talking about rough sex. I couldn't hold my laughter longer and they realized that I understand them. This is actually a really good one. You have my reaction there. Please reply. Please, comma, I beg you. Do mention some of the words they said. Please. Oh my god, Alisa Herdi, your story is the best. I wonder what kind of words do Romanians use. For example, I have a Latin insult that is cunus materis tua in lingua mea. That's a slur for that kind of oral sex from man to woman. What in Latin it's called cunulingus. Please, Luke Ranier, if you're watching this, Scorpio Martianos, if you're watching this, please don't hate me. Al Pichones says, meow. Me pegué. Ow, I hit myself. Ouch, I hit myself. Let's see. Al Pichones says, someone was insulting my hair color, saying, wow, look at her, she looks bad, that color is ugly. I turned her around, I said, well, I think it looks pretty. I don't care what you think. She tried saying she was actually complimenting me. Nice try. Oh my god, Regina P, that's PH, but I'm going to pronounce it P with the aspiration sound, not P. ¿Qué pedo? I have Moroccan parents, says Regina, but I was born in Holland, the Netherlands. I studied Spanish linguistics. You would never think that I speak Spanish. The languages we speak in the country are Dutch, English, German, or French, and in my case, Arabic. I have never had any bad experiences. They are actually very surprised and super nice when I speak Spanish back to them. And Fali asks a question about Regina Pelangi being her real name, and she says, no, it's not. It's a name that Phoebe from Friends uses. Yes, I know, that's why I asked him, but I didn't want to sound rude if I was the real name. Real name or not, I respect your story and I love it, Regina. Curon Evans says, Munich train station. 2 American soldiers standing on the platform next to my ex-girlfriend. The lady to our left has large mammary glands. She also speaks English. That's perfect! The reply is perfect! Okay, let's read it again. Munich train station. 2 American soldiers standing on the platform next to my girlfriend. The lady to our left has large mammary glands, says one of them. And she's like, she also speaks English. She replied, I think this is the perfect sarcastic look. Or ironic, I don't know. Whatever. Kimberly Rachel says, I love reading this. I don't have my own story though. Karen Chung says, me too, but well, she in fact should have replied, me either, or me neither. But it's okay, I'm not going to correct this kind of grammar. Or at least I'm not going to write out comment. Catherine Rocket says, a French couple next to us on a cruise made fun of my husband for drinking scotch with his dinner. I said, you know what I hate, honey? People who are so rude as to insult someone while assuming no one else can understand their language. Dead silent until they left. Ha. Gyungver en IQ Erdős says, funny story. Two guys saying hot things about me. Funny story from this person who apparently speaks Hungarian, because her name probably is Hungarian, I don't know. Oh my god, this looks creepy, but I like it. Funny story. Two guys saying hot things about me. We were on a tram. I pretended not to understand, but when getting off, I smiled saying, thank you guys, you made my day. Ooh. Again, still, don't say dirty things about women or men. People, please don't do that. Please. Please don't do that. Let us continue. What did I say? I have to know. That is so much, you girl. One person, Solel, wants to know. And she says, oh my god. Auvorbit Romanește. Ha 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 ha. Romanian. Juan Francisco says, every time women talk shit, but they don't know I understand them very well because I'm like a fucking cat. I don't understand this one. Aitana Meseguer Soleah says, in my school we do trips to France very often, and in one time I was in the bus with a friend and we were speaking our language, Catalonian, I think that's the name in English. I'm going to say Català or Catalan. So sorry. So the only two French people that were in the bus thought we didn't speak French. So the girl starts saying she was pregnant from... Blah. One more time. In my school we do trips to France very often. And in one time I was in the bus with a friend and we were speaking our language, Català. So the only two French people that were in the bus thought we didn't speak French. So the girl starts saying she was pregnant from a man that is not her fiance, but that she was going to tell her fiance that it was his baby because he had more money than the lover. Oh my god. Oh my god. She was going to tell her fiance that it was his baby because we had more money than the lover. Me and my friend were so amazed of that woman's cynicism. I really hope the guy discovered the deception before it was too late. And that, my friends, is why you always make a paternity test. Regardless of how sure you are, you just do it. Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. Willy von Bronkhorst says, ¿Has sabido qué fue después? Sorry, my Spanish is not very good. Did you know what will happen later? Oh my god. No, this one refers an I'm angry reaction. Oh my god. No, les franceses van vaixar abans que nosaltres y mai vaig saber què va passar després. El teu espanyol és bo, no et preocupis. He says in Catalonian something like, no, the French guys are going to continue and we never knew what happened later, what happened next. Your Spanish is good, don't worry. Susan Avanen says, I was once queuing to a bar in my hometown, Swedish-speaking area of Finland, with a Polish friend of mine. We spoke Polish. A couple of girls behind us started to air their opinions about Russian women. After a while, I had enough and turned around saying something along the lines of, at least they have more intelligence than you, in completely fluent Swedish. I would love to know that. I would love to know how to say that in Swedish. Then I informed them that we were in fact speaking Polish. The girls insisted on me being Russian. Guys, Russians and Poles are not the same thing, god damn it. In a few moments I'm going to stop because I don't want this video to be so long. It's already long, so in advance, I would like to thank anyone who watches this. I feel your pain. I'm Slovak, says Lienka Betnar, and says, and something similar had happened to me a few times before. People insisted that I was Russian and spoke Russian despite I explained that I'm not. I'm not. I speak no Slovak, but I won't assume you are Russian. And if you confirm it, then I'll believe you. And what would be the word for that in Swedish? I would like to know. Please tell us. Please tell us. A frog. So many replies. I love this. One person, Vitaly, says the Ukrainians experience that on more or less daily basis. Oh my god. Oh, I thought it was only addressed to Serbian. Oh, do you live in Serbia? So you speak Russian? How not? With your permission, I'd like to know the words that you said in fluent Swedish. What did you say? Gunay Hassan says, I used to work in a restaurant in Malta, and one of my customers started saying how beautiful I was, etc., to his friend in Turkish. He thought I didn't know Turkish, as I greeted them in English and took their orders in English. After they finished their meals and asked me for the bill, I started answering in Turkish, and the guy's face looked like a tomato. I don't blush. Boy, am I having fun. I hope the person watching this is having fun too, and in advance I would like to thank you for watching this. I remember the video Italian in Malta. I love reading this. Me too, Gentic. Jenny Fox says, we were in Rome. Our driver was lost, and he just wanted us to get out nowhere near the Trevi fountain where we'd book. I said, no way, it's nowhere to be seen and we're not paying till you get us there. He starts yelling and called me a putana, a slut in Italian. Man, did I fire up. He was shocked I understood and humbly took us to our hotel with my Google Maps. Dude, to all the Italian boys and girls, to all Italian men and women, don't talk to Italian. Don't assume that us Spanish-speaking folks don't understand your language. It's totally similar. Trust us. There is a high chance that we understand you. I'm rusty, but I understand it. Solange Noronha says, many years ago, I think it was in a subway in New York, where there are many Brazilians. About 3 or 4 young people criticized the people around them in Portuguese and laughed. Before I left, I asked them, how many more people here could have understood your insults? Then you complain that Brazilians have a bad reputation abroad. It was my only trip to the US. I prefer the tube. I don't understand what this person means by the tube. So far I have read approximately like 100 stories. Wow. Tom Gross. I remember this person. This is gonna be the last story before I stop it. Tom Gross says, in the 70s we used travelers checks a lot. I have no idea what these are. I guess they are checks to cash in the bank, but anyway, in Paris I had learned that a good place to cash them was at a small bank near the American Express office, where I used to go and pick up my mail. When I went to the exchange to cash a check, I generally just handed them a check with my American passport for identification without saying anything. One time the guy was clearly shortchanging me by miscalculating the exchange in his favor. As he was handing me my francs, I astonished him by saying something like, Je crois que c'est fois 4,65. Fait 4,65 francs. He immediately recognized his mistakes and gave me the correct sum. Never assume that. Come on. Never assume that. Don't assume it. And with that, we finish this. I'll see you later, Brave New World, for the next new part. For the next part of this video that we're going to stop here because I don't want it to be so long. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful and blessed evening. Thank you so much for being here and see you later for the next episode. Peace. Farewell.